My name's Chris Mullane, and I went to St Peter's College in 1958 and graduated in 1964, having achieved 7th form, which these days would be called Year 13, and having attained a higher school certificate. Notable achievements, well, getting into St Peter's was the first one, and then following that, of course, getting selected to go to the Royal Military College at Duntroon when I joined the Army. And then through my military career and my business career, and now working in various community organisations and helping veterans and their families get the support they need. My first experience with St Peter's was actually going to watch my two older brothers play sport there and for other various open day events at the college, because I had two older brothers there, and I had uncles who'd been there from the very beginning of the college in 1939, so we had a long and strong family connection. And then my first very personal experience was the year before I went to the college in 1957. I came from a fairly low income family, and we already had two brothers there and sisters at school, private schools and so on, so my parents needed some help. So my mother said, go and sit the scholarship exam so that you don't have to pay any fees while you're at St Peter's. So this was a very big responsibility on a 10-year-old, but off I went, and was disappointed to find that I didn't succeed. Comfort in the college came from a number of directions. First of all, I found comfort. There was a little chapel between the brothers' accommodation building and the main school building at the time. And I think we had about 700 and something people, so it was quite a big crowd really for those days. But being able to slip into the chapel for a moment of quiet and contemplation was a way of finding some peace. But also there was lots of good interaction with the brothers and some of the lay teachers. Every time there was a play break or a lunch break or whatever, they were always available in the area, the quadrangle and the playgrounds and the fields. So being able to just have a chat, sometimes a quiet word or whatever, but not always heavy, but sometimes just something you needed to give you a lift. I also enjoyed doing the woodwork classes. I found working with wood very creative, but also very soothing. And Brother Wilkes, who ran the practical courses there, he was a great man. He was face always lit up when you walked in, and he was enthusiastic about his job. So all of that gave us great comfort. When I was in Forms 1 and 2, which was years 7 and 8, Brother Sullivan, who was the head of the junior department or the middle school in those days, he had a very strong influence. He was an ex-military man. He had served in the New Zealand Air Force during the Second World War, along with one of my uncles, who was a good friend of his. So his military style discipline was something that created an impression upon me, and particularly as he knew my uncle, so I couldn't get away with anything. Again, I mentioned Brother Wilkes because he had a real dedication to his work, and he was one who held tradespeople in high regards, and therefore made us all realise that no matter what calling you went to in life, you would make a valuable contribution. The other person who had a big influence on me was Brother Monagle. He was a particular help to me when we did a practice school certificate exam. I didn't do very well in the practice exam. In fact, I failed it. And after finding that out, I sought out Brother Monagle out in the play area and said to him, I'm a bit worried about having not passed the exam, brother, what do you think? He said, I wouldn't worry about it at all. I said, oh good, do you think it's going to be easier when we do the real exam? He said, no, that's not the story. And I said, well, why do you say I shouldn't worry about it? He said, well look, you're probably going to fail the main exam as well, but don't worry about that either, he said, because there's plenty of jobs on the roads for boys like you. Well, I'll tell you, that really got my dander up and made me go back and study even harder. So I did pass school certificate, and that was a great bit of psychology by Brother Monagle. At the college in my day, the the school used to put on a theatrical performance every year for several nights for family and other supporters, but also for the public if they wanted to buy a ticket. And I think it was a bit of a fundraiser as well. And there was the main theatre we used to go to was called the Playhouse. At the Playhouse we performed all sorts of things, plays, musicals, all sorts of performances. And then what I found a bit trying was I was chosen to do some solos, and that made me a bit nerve-wracking. And one of the assistant musical teachers saw I was nervous and said, "Come here," and gave me a glass of what I thought was water to drink. It turned out not to be water at all. It turned out later on I discovered it was gin, something I'd never encountered as a 12-year-old. And I'm not sure it helped my nerves, but it certainly took my voice away. The school gave me a very good start in getting me accepted into the Royal Military College Duntroon in Australia. I was finding it very difficult to pass my academic exams. Once again, a repeat of the fifth form experience, I think. And when I was called in and told, well, we're going to have to get rid of you at the end of the year if you don't do well on your academic and military papers. And I was reminded of Brother Monocle's admonishment to me, and they got me going. I was proud to say that I graduated 12th out of a class of 68 graduates. I have to say that that was right down to the good grounding I'd got at St Peter's College. Well, now I'm supposed to be retired, but I'm probably busier than ever, having had my first career in the military for 20-something years, and then my second career in business. And I have now supposedly retired, but I'm very involved in a lot of community work, in the arts, various forms of the arts, in commemorative groups that are commemorating those who've served New Zealand here and overseas and their families. And I'm also a registered marriage celebrant and doing all sorts of ceremonies, not just weddings. One project that I'm working on at the moment of particular interest is creating a memorial and garden in Passchendaele, or Zonnebeke in Passchendaele in Belgium. And this is to commemorate the New Zealanders who fought in the battles of Passchendaele in Flanders during World War I. It's quite a challenging project, but it's now well underway, and it'll be open for the centenary of the Battle of Passchendaele in October next year. The other achievements outside of family and schooling that I feel very strongly about is the achievement for Vietnam veterans and their families, and the way that a team of us managed to persuade the New Zealand government to put something in place to support those who had served New Zealand. The motto of the college is to love and to serve. And I guess when I first saw that motto on my brother's school uniforms and so on, and on the crest of the college, it struck me as very valuable and a very important principle. And that principle stuck with me in the work that I've done. It's been a guiding principle for me in many ways, and it came from the St Peter's College motto, to love and to serve. And so I've put a lot of work into working with others in teams, my former military colleagues, their families, and other community groups. Noblesse oblige, to love and to serve, and remember that privilege has its responsibilities.